Greetings, pilots and passengers. Welcome back to the next episode of the Dare to Talk podcast. Today I have the wonderful Shelby, who you may have seen on Twitter if you follow her. I'll include her Twitter in the description box below, and it'll be on screen now. Shelby is really into astral projection and is well on her way on her spiritual awakening. She is also currently studying dance, which we'll get into, and how she thinks the mind and body connection is really important, how this can be explored through movement. So Shelby, thank you for agreeing to come on today. It's really wonderful to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So could you say a little bit about yourself and who you are and what you're interested in terms of, what you post about on Twitter with astral projection and such?
So, my name is Shelby. I've always had about like 1 foot in to the ethereal side of life, or the mystical side of life as I call it. I've always had 1 foot in and then 1 foot out. My spiritual awakening really started in 2012 when I started having past life memory flashbacks come through dreams. I started to digest these dreams that I was having by looking into books that had to do with reincarnation, dream interpretations, and one thing led to another from there. I began looking into like the starseed, star system, the astral projection and stuff like that in about 2014 to 2015. My personal dark night of the soul started in fall of 2013 and went to spring of 2019.
What is that, just to clarify, what is the dark night of the soul?
The dark night of the soul is cannot be stated as an ego death, complete death of like the old ways of thinking or like previous ways before the spiritual awakening. It's a complete rewiring of your whole chakra systems. It starts at the root and it goes through the seventh chakra, which is your crown. And if you follow me, you'll often see me and my other friends say you can't run and hide from your shadows. Sorry, I had a phone call. But yeah, you can't run from your shadows. And during that about 6.5 year period is when I personally did a lot of, or attempted to run from shadows, but I was met with like dead end blocks from it. So from that, I started to go within, started to kind of digest and peel back the layers in 2016. And just in about 4 years, I'm a completely different person now from who I was back then. So it really shows like not only the strength of the human soul and spirit, but it shows like it is quite literally a death, like, so to speak. Let's see.
In terms of your past life progression, just to touch on that, what sort of past lives were you dreaming about?
This particular one that kind of like rattled me was the lifetime of being in the Holocaust with my divine counterpart. It's also known as a twin flame, but I'm not a fan of labels per se. Not so much. So, but yes, it was one of the lifetimes that I had with him. And that's let's see. I'm being told to kind of like shift in the mind body connection, and how like your multi-dimensional beings and other timeline essences can play out in your current reality. So we're going to go with that first, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. So, yeah, you go with whatever you like. Yeah.
So when it comes to traumatic experiences for your soul, what happens is that a part of your soul essence is stuck in this energy fragment in time. And if one does not claim or begin to understand, kind of detangle that energy, so to speak, how I say it, if one doesn't begin to do that, it can continue to manifest and show and present itself in the physical reality, just how spirits and the paranormal have previous unfinished business, or so to speak, here. Yeah. And they can't they can't go on and move further until it's neutralized or forgiven, or however it makes sense to you to say it. Just as how that happens, it also happens to it happens to your soul. So kind of a lot of what we see today, when you hear people talk about ancestral traumas or generational curses, it's that same energy loop that keeps like going on loop until someone finally stands up and says, I've had enough. I don't want to live like this anymore. I am breaking this.
Yeah, I think as well, I've heard similar, but also with past life thing is, in a previous life, things you experience can pass on to the next life as well. And that can include traumas that you have experienced in your past life, from what I've understood from some of that. I know some people who, like, I don't know where it came from or where I saw it, but some people have it physically manifests. Say if someone was in the world, like a world war, and was shot, and then that they reincarnated into the next life, and they have like maybe a birthmark or something in the place that they were shot. So yeah, I see what you're saying with the soul trauma. It kind of ties in with that a little bit.
With me, when I was younger, anytime that I would begin to get upset or like hurt or cry, my eyelids would turn light pink. And I grew up having chronic sinus issues. And before I went through quantum healing, soul retrieval, that whole process, which if anyone is curious about that, they can message me and I can let them know like how it goes, and I can link them to someone who does that for me. That was likely a result of dying in the gas chambers, just from like the suffocating and the disintegrating, or whatever the word is to describe that. Growing up, I also had a fear of cops. I had a fear that they would come and take me and I would never see my family again. I remember having that fear at 5 and 6 years old. And it's not so much anymore now, but like even in like recent years following that, I still kind of had that nervous feeling of getting pulled over and again not being able to see any of my family or loved ones again.
When you sort of realized that your dreams of having a past life in the Holocaust and how this might connect to some of the things you were experiencing when you were younger, was it sort of like oh, that makes sense now sort of reaction?
Oh yeah, very much so. I began to it was like putting pieces of a puzzle together for me. One of the actual like oracle readings that I first started getting into was oracle readings of past lifetimes, and because I fully believe that if you can put pieces of a puzzle together back, in other times, you can look at how it's playing and manifesting in your lifetime now, and how you can ascend and vibrate higher from that experience.
Yeah, I agree in terms of, I think if you have some understanding of putting the pieces together, it can sort of make a lot of sense for people. And I think personally, when our past lives actually have a huge impact on who we are, because from my understanding, a lot of the people in this life, you already knew in the last life, but they might have just had different relationships to you. Like through my communication with spirit, we learned that my mum in a previous life was actually my daughter, and things like that. It's just interesting to see how a lot of the connections we have in this life, we already know everyone.
Yes, very much so.
So at what point, because you've have spoken on Twitter about astral projecting and some of the dreams you're having, so at what point did you sort of realize you were astral projecting?
Let's see. I want to say it was pretty recently. I began having the experiences with that. I began having in high school, actually, before I was even awakened, so to speak. I had met my divine counterpart in high school, and I remember this one moment happening, and it was when he and I were broken up. It was March of 2011 that I remember being in this giant red room, and it was really creepy. There was a bunch of dark things that were just plastered everywhere. And I'm not sure if you've seen the movie Insidious or not.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. I was in that red room. Ooh. And I experienced this way before I saw any of the movie trailers for it, before I had even heard of the movie and what it was about. So I remember going, like, hearing this voice, and it actually ended up being my counterpart's higher self saying, "Come over here." There was this trap door that just magically appeared, and I remember going through it, and as I closed the door, I saw the door to the red room begin to open.
What do you think that meant? Because was you like feeling scary in it? Because I mean, as soon as you said Insidious, I was like, oh God, because I've when I think of Insidious, I always just think of the woman in the veil, and all that terror. It's just absolute. That's the one film I just can't watch because it's terrifying. So when you had that dream, how was you feeling?
Mainly confused because I don't know how I ended up there.
Did it come across as sinister in a way?
Yes, very much so.
And when you realized this was an astral projection, did you start looking into it a bit further?
Honestly, I haven't really revisited that experience, so to speak, just because I hadn't thought about it. And I guess to me, it was like just symbolic of like, I didn't know I could do this, and now where am I? So, because prior to 2012, I was completely unaware of things such as like astral projection and spirituality, stuff like that. I was open to the paranormal because I've seen full-bodied apparitions before. I've sensed spirits. I've communicated with them. I grew up in a household with my mom reading tarot cards, so that part wasn't unusual to me. So when I started having all of these experiences, like essentially skyrocketing at me, I was just like, what is all of this going on?
Sorry, I was just going to say, so do you think the experiences with your initial experiences sort of opened you up into this world and sort of started your awakening, so to speak?
It could have. It very well could have. Because I, following that instance that happened, I started, I had heard of the phrase or the term twin flames in August of 2011. I didn't think it was real whatsoever. And there were days where with my counterpart, it was like, okay, I could see how he's this for me. And there were other days where we were just each other's worst enemies, because it was just, the energy between us was very like hot and cold, back and forth, runner chaser, very much stereotypical of what you would think of when you hear the word twin flame. Let's see. My most recent experiences when it comes to astral projection, in March of March of 2020, earlier this year, I was with my ex-boyfriend at the time, and we went outside at 11:11 because he had heard something from the sky, and there was a lot of like nighttime activity going on, a lot of airplanes that were flying, just really unusual for 11 o'clock at night. And I got the immediate sense that there were these beings that were trying to find their way out of not really like this the atmosphere. They were trying to find their, like, I guess, portal or stargate, whichever that they were using. And I remember thinking, like, you're not safe right now. You need to get out of here. You need to go home so you can be safe, or something like that. We went back inside, and I immediately got a download a few seconds later. It was, you are safe. This is an activation. We will be in touch. And 2 days later, I found myself kind of in this, like a panel in a mothership, so to speak. And I was actually seeing the Galactic Federation.
What was it like being in front of the Galactic, it'd be in front of the Galactic Federation. What was that like?
It was very, like, calming. It was very clean. It was very bright. I actually saw the two beings that I had mentally, telepathically communicated with. They were two smallish to medium-sized grays, benevolent grays. They were, of course, working, like, coinciding with the GFL. And I'm viewing that, or I view that as kind of an initiation into it.
Yeah.
Because ever since then, my awareness has been heightened. My channeling has been heightened. All of my chakra systems, energies have been heightened. And let's see, the other most recent experience I had was actually a few days ago. I remember being in this this white house, and it was this hospital kind of thing, a hospital clinic, right? And in this particular house, their house clinic, there were like all of these young souls, and some of them had really bad burn marks. Some of them were just like kind of in comas. Some of them were just like coming out, like learning to like how to walk again and how to just live again. And to me, that experience in particular it was telling me that those who have perished at the hands of the Dark Fleet Alliance cabal that we're all fighting against, that those souls are like, that was a safe haven, this particular place for those souls. And what kind of happens is that they go to this place and they're just completely renewed, regenerated. It's like the trauma that they experienced never even happened. I remember seeing one person rubbing her hands all over this poor little soul's skin, so to speak. And after doing that, their skin shined like new. It was like nothing had ever been done to them. And
was it sort of like a spiritual healing they were doing?
Yes. Spiritual hospital clinic.
It's interesting you said about that, because in my spiritual development circle, which me and my dad run, we have communicated with a Syrian called Phoenix 6, and he has told us a lot about these rescue missions that are taking place, usually in alongside the US military on behalf of Trump. And part of it is rescuing the children from the cabal and from these underground military bases. And some of the technology that they have been using is these like healing pods that almost, when I envisage them in my mind, they kind of look like, like tanning beds sort of thing. Mm-hmm. They're sort of along those lines. But using technology like that, but also they have like teams of healers that, like you said, do hands-on healing. So, I mean, I'm hopeful that this sort of technology will end up sort of coming out and being revealed to the public, because obviously it would be a great help for everyone.
I just got chills. That's so amazing. Like, so I don't know if this particular message is for anyone out there, but there was, in this experience, there was this boy who was clinging to me. Like, he asked specifically for me. Like, I was meant to help him heal and progress in some kind of way. His name was Tommy. So I don't know if that has any kind of resonance for anyone who listens to this or sees this that's out there. But if it is, just know that this particular soul, they're safe, they're loved, they're in the most divine hands and have the highest amount of protection around them. And they will come back to you when the time is right.
That is really beautiful. I think the nicest thing to know is that these children are finding peace, and that their suffering is over, and that there are these multidimensional beings doing this really good work to keep them safe.
Yes.
So, in terms of your sort of connection with not just spirit, but also these multidimensional beings, are there any in particular who come through to you regularly?
I just channeled actually my Pleiadian higher self last Friday. Her name is Rhea, and I looked up her name because I had never heard it before, and it has something to do with flowing like water. And I had actually been posting like about a week and a half beforehand, just like flow like water and all of these like symbolic like references to it, and also just to nature, and just being like firm like a tree and unapologetic like a tree too. So it's with that, I do want to say, whenever it does come to connecting with your higher self, let go of expectations of what you think it might be like, because it could be the most random thing you see or experience for yourself, and that could be your higher self's way of saying, hey, I'm making this obvious that this is not normal to your normal day-to-day activity, so to speak, so you should pay attention to this.
How do you go about channeling and connecting? What do you have, like a process you go through to do that?
It's basically being automatic to me, but what I do is at night I'll go to the park, I'll put in my headphones, I'll listen to Spotify, and I'll just sit and look at the stars, or I'll just swing on the playground. That I find that connects me to my inner child. Which, having a strong foundation and connection to your inner child and inner being, inner emotional body, is a really good standpoint to have whenever it does come to connecting with your higher self. I also do a lot of breath work, a lot of cleansing breaths. It's basically become almost an automatic everyday thing for me. Like, I'll wake up, I'll scroll through my notifications on Twitter, check my messages, and kind of based on that, I'll get like a general thought that comes across my mind, and I'll have this nudge to just type it and put it out there.
So you've essentially getting influenced by either your higher self or spirit or these multi-dimensional. A lot of your tweets, are they, would you say, influenced by these higher beings?
Yes.
Awesome. So you study dance.
Mm-hmm.
Could you go into a little bit about your background with dance? What made you want to study it?
So when I was filling out my schedule going into my 9th grade freshman year, I realized that instead of taking another PE class, I could take a dance class. And my thoughts then were like, oh, so you're telling me that I can dance instead of having to run another mile? Okay, let's do that. So I took a drill dance team prep class, which I don't know if you know what it is over there, but it's whenever you see football games, they're the ones that dance at halftime with the hats and the boots, and
kind of like cheerleaders in a way.
Kind of, except think more dance and more kicking, especially.
Right.
So I hadn't ever really had any kind of previous dance experience beforehand, so to speak. So I did that my first year of high school. I tried out and I made the junior varsity level of drill team, which was still a fun experience. It was good. I tried out again, and then I made it onto varsity my junior year, or going into my junior year, which was in 2010. And like I said before, I hadn't had any kind of dance experience, nothing studio based. So it was all like essentially kind of a hidden talent that was meant for me, I guess you could say.
So you're on your life path, you know what you're doing, and you've been put there, sort of thing. And yeah.
Oh yeah. And then I continued it throughout high school. I started studying dance as like an art-based form of expression in 2014. It kind of shifted from like more of an external competition projective into more of like an internal study for me. And I've taken ballet, I've taken modern, I've taken hip hop, I've taken a Bharatanatyam class. It's so interesting to me how all of these styles kind of like cross and feed into one another when it comes to discovering like your body's patterning, the mental body, emotional body, physical body connections. And if you're ever curious on how it feels to be in alignment, ballet would be a really good class to start. I'm not sure who that message is for, but I just got that thought into like my headspace just to share.
Why is ballet so good for alignment?
Because to practice it effectively and to help strengthen your body's the biomechanical aspects of your body, it's necessary to have the perfect proper alignment so that you don't blow a knee out, or you don't like hurt your ankles, or you hurt like your lower back, your lumbar spine, anything to do with like the interconnectedness, you could say.
Yeah. Is there a particular sort of dance style that is your favorite?
I would say modern, because that's where I've learned the most when it comes to strengthening the body patterns for me, and it helps kind of keep me in a healthy creative headspace to where I'm doing something that is pleasing to the inner masculine energies of within me, but it's also like equally as pleasing to the inner feminine energies within me. So
with your dance as well, have you found that as part of your sort of awakening, have you sort of started treating dance differently because of your awakening?
Yes, very much so. It's and one of my professors during our summer intensive actually shared this. He said that whenever you're creating, remember, nothing is right or wrong, it's just information. And that whole mindset has just shifted my thinking and perception into the spiritual terms, because it's like, well, it takes the connotation away from the self-sabotaging way of, oh, this was a bad choice, why did I do this, I could have done this instead. And it shifts it from that to, I made this choice, this happened, what can I learn from it, and what can I do differently to shift it to where this does not happen again in my physical reality.
So what do you want to do with dance? What are your plans for the future in terms of dance?
So my minor is small business entrepreneurship. So the goal that I have is to open up a dance studio for families of all socioeconomic backgrounds and income. For what sparked that idea for me was in high school with my team, we would do these dance clinics and have dance classes where all of our kids in the school districts could come and learn a routine with us and get to perform it with us during like pre-game shows and like basketball games, just stuff like that. And I began to think to myself, how many of those kids got so excited because that is the like 1 or 2 days a year where their families can afford to spend an extra $30 here for them to take a dance class. And for me, for what I want to do is I want to find a way to make these classes not only affordable, but have the option to where if anyone is on like hardships, they can go through like a scholarship kind of program. I also want to open the door for more adult-based activity classes too. A lot of studios over here don't really offer that per se for adults, like fitness classes and just taking adult dance classes for fun. I know a lot of my friends and I had been looking for places like that, but it's not the same if you're going and only 1 or 2 people are showing up. So what I want to do with that is create a more personalized, welcoming environment for not only kids to feel safe and accepted and like they can explore their art, but a place that adults and, you know, even like the older generation can experience too. What I am also planning on doing is you also see, what's it called? You often see at dance recitals and shows, kids getting to dance with their parents or with their dad or their mom, but you don't ever see any kind of options with like their grandparents or any kind of like of the older generations over here. So what I also want to do with that is I want to teach classes that are geared for that, to where you can have your child or your younger neighbor kind of dancing and interacting with their grandparent or like an older person that they look up to.
Yeah, that sounds really amazing though. I think, I mean, I did dance, and I did dance at school, and I mean, I was terrible at it. Absolutely shocking.
Oh.
But I think the thing that I did quite enjoy about it is that you could just do whatever you like. There's no right or wrong. It's just expressing yourself, and it's quite freeing once you sort of let go of it and just explore what your body can do, because I mean, the body's an amazing thing at the end of the day, and it's, you know, I just like to look at it as like a vessel for our soul, and it's, I mean, our soul dancing at the end of the day.
Yeah, very much so. That's very beautifully put. I forgot one more thing I also want to do with that. I don't think a lot of classes or a lot of studios kind of offer this around here either, but I also plan on having like a production-based class too that will go into how to run a show, how to run the stage, how to set up everything for like a theatrical or performance or choir performance or anything to do with the visual performing arts, because it's like a lot of people have an appreciation for dancing, but they also are interested in the technical aspects too, like, these lights would look really cool in this particular piece because the piece is about going from dark to light, so it would make sense to have like the lighting go from like the cool tones to the warm tones. And the same thing with, you know, the soundboard, same thing with like stage managing, same things with those who go in and change out the light fixtures and the lenses for it. So I want to offer that as like a creative outlet too, to show that the whole performing arts industry, you don't have to be able to sing, you don't have to be able to act, you don't have to be able to dance to become a part of it.
Yeah, you just have to want to do it at the end of the day.
Yes.
And just have that passion there.
Yes, very much so.
She's wonderful. I mean, what are you going to call your business, may I ask? Or do you not know yet?
I haven't made it that far in life yet, but it's like I see it in my mind's eye. I'm starting to begin to see like the places or like the pieces of the puzzle like stick together on the way to make it happen. So
that's wonderful, because I think everyone has like a set life path, but there's some people who it's so set in stone that no matter what they do, they can't sort of divert from it. Do you think that this path was always meant for you?
oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. Because to me, whenever I look back on being involved with drill team, it wasn't the amount of competitions that we won and got medals and trophies for that kind of had that lasting impact on me. It wasn't the parades that, you know, we were all in and a part of. It was everything always went back to the kids and how I could do like what I'm supposed to do and what I'm meant to do here to help take that mindful burden off of these people. Because who knows how many talents, like how many potential talents have been lost and not fed into and planted and watered properly and guided. How many of those paths and talents have just ended up not being able to manifest into someone's physical reality because they didn't have the opportunity. So if I can do what I'm supposed to do to help assist others into discovering this the talents that they have and helping them mold and shape it to where if they end up going further with it, cool. If it ends up just being some like a creative outlet and talent that they want to do, that's fine. But if I can manage to do that, that'll mean so much more to me than any amount of money that I could ever have. And that's also the same with the mystical side of life as well. I'm just as passionate about helping others remember the light that they have within. And I'm also planning on opening up a space for a shop for that as well. And I'm gonna have like specific classes geared not only towards adults, but geared towards like the younger generations and even like children as well. Because whenever you're 5 years old, you can see beings in your room not knowing what they are, and they end up just being like a fragment of someone lost in time, or they can be like one of your spirit guides, but you don't know that when you're 5 years old, because you just wake up in the middle of the night and you just see this like outline of a figure. So
would you sort of teach these people how to sort of develop themselves spiritually and mystically?
mm-hmm. You would begin by explaining kind of like what kind of feelings you get whenever you see them. You would train your mind's eye, your intuition, your all of your like clairaudience, clairvoyancy, clairsentient, everything to do with that. I don't know what the other two off the top of my head are, but there definitely is that. And a lot of people also think that all of like the ETs and extraterrestrials are these just like god awful beings, and that's, you know, of course not all of them are like that. So how else would you tell people that, you know, they're not this, like they're not the same way that Hollywood depicts them in movies? So you would just go through educating them.
Yeah, I mean, one of the messages that I've had come through before, especially in regards to aliens, is that humanity needs to build a bridge between us and aliens, because for us to progress, we need to make contact, and not only make contact, but because we've already made contact, but as in everyone is in touch with them.
Yep, very much so.
So a lot of people have been saying that there's a sort of a mass awakening going on in terms of like this month in particular. I've definitely sort of heard got messages come through that this month is a really big, important, special month. Have you had anything similar?
Oh yes, very much so. It is the kind of like one specific fixed point in time that will ripple out into the entire cosmos and all of existence, that will quite literally shift people's realities in ways that they never thought possible. A lot of my close friends that I talk to, we're already kind of in the fifth dimension, so to speak, as you could say. And it's not, again, I want to say with this, just to remember to let go of expectations, because 5D is not something where like things are just gonna magically fall from the sky and fix everything in your day-to-day life. It speaks in like synchronizations especially. So if you've been seeing like repeating numbers constantly, if you've been picking up on other people's thoughts, you find yourself saying the same thing as others, then that's a sure sign that you're already living in 5D. It's and I would actually be interested in looking further into this, because I'm wondering if like the shifting of 5D is also along the lines of the bridge that you were talking about.
Yeah, I think in terms of a lot of what you said there, I experienced a lot of them things when I was sort of awakening, especially the number synchronicity, and I sort of heard like a frequency ringing in my ear that would come on and off, and things like that, and weird dreams, just all of them things that you mentioned there. I would associate as I would label them as like awakening symptoms. But yeah, it'd be interesting to know whether it's aliens are playing a part in it, because especially in your case, it sounds like they do have an ability to sort of I don't want to say interfere, but sort of move things along a bit, sort of
influence.
Yeah,
yes.
influence. Yeah, the word. But it sounds like they have some sort of a ability or to influence people to sort of head on to an awakening path and nudge them in the right direction. But I also wonder, I'm not sure what you think about this, whether the things going on in the world right now, especially in the US, and the exposure that's taking place and the declassification of things is sort of linked to this awakening.
Oh, yes. Very much so. Very much so. I can tell you that I'm sure you have already kind of heard about this, or you'll further look into it. Same with everyone who's watching and viewing this right now. I can say that these particular Dark Fleet Alliance cabal, of how I word them, they have done this exact same thing in other star systems, other dimensions. I'm not sure exactly when to pinpoint it back, but I know that the star system of Lyra was affected, the star system of Sirius, our planets in our solar system. There was a planet called Maldek that was that experienced turmoil at the hands of these sick people. The same with Venus, the same with Mars. And again, who knows how many other star systems and dimensions this has taken place in, where these people come in, they are very much self-servicing and are basically rebelling against the whole light in any way that they think, that they've gone so far to the extreme darkest side, that they've lost sight of who they really are. And the reason why they're fighting, or they've been continuing to fight so hard over Gaia, is because this is it for them. Like, Gaia is the absolute last place that this will be allowed to happen in our solar system, and quite literally our whole galaxy, cosmic neck of the woods neighborhood, so to speak. So they're trying to retain as much control over this planet as they can in a way to avoid their fate. But as we all know, light always wins over darkness in the end. Like, the creator's love will always ultimately prevail over the darkest possible amount of times. How I often like, one of the analogies that I use is, think of it like the Battle of Hogwarts right now. And we're and with the whole election and stuff like that, how I've been kind of comparing and telling people is like the moment where Harry appears to be dead in Hagrid's arms, and Voldemort is like giving his starts to begin his like victory speech and stuff like that, and how Neville comes forward and says something that essentially rips Harry out of Hagrid's arms, and he starts running and is continuing to fight. That's literally the perfect analogy to me of what we have going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard similar in terms of the warfare that's taking place on Earth and in the physical realm is just a reflection of what's going up above. All of our loved ones are in this battle and fighting it in whatever way they can. So you sort of touched on there about how this has happened in many, many galaxies across the world, likely for thousands of years, probably longer than that. Is it the same cabal who are on Earth? Is it aliens involved with that?
Yes. Some are called vril. They're so a lot of people who are service to self, they're vril influenced. They often go in through a human vessel through the left eye. So that's why you'll see a lot of celebrities' pictures covering up, like, I think it's the left or right eye, whichever. They begin to take over a person's mind and psyche to where it kills the soul aspect of that person, and it leaves this specific parasitic being in this body. That's one of them. Another person, like another being, of course, is the Malevolent Reptilians, which I suspect a lot of people are more familiar with that one. I have, in terms of like dissecting who actually is completely involved with it, I know there are some malevolent draconians who are as well. And I don't think I've ever come in contact with a benevolent reptilian or like a benevolent draconian, but I don't think that it's not possible that there are benevolent beings that are this particular extraterrestrial races and multi-dimensional beings. I don't think they're all necessarily like evil or in service of self-oriented, but I do know that the ones who are operating and keeping everyone in the fear, the MK Ultra based mind control, the propaganda, those who are keeping that keeping those energy loops going because they're freaking out, those are who's running the scenes behind the cabal.
How do you think it's all going to end out for them?
They're going to be cast into the galactic central sun, and they're going to have to go through a whole complete new soul rebirth and regeneration process.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in contact with, and it's quite controversial to some people. I've not really divulged too far into it because I know how people feel about it, but demons, I've been in contact with demons who are, a lot of which it's been sort of told to us that they are erasing themselves, and how there's a lot of demons who are actually, because their power is being used by the cabal, which harms themselves. And a lot of these demons and darker forces are actually transitioning to the light, to sort, because they're fed up and they want to help out in this warfare on the right side. And when you were sort of saying there about like a spiritual rebirth, that really sort of, I could, definitely got something from that. I mean, I've heard that before, sure.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very much so. It's like a whole it's like a whole clean slate after it, but also at the same time, I can't imagine how it would be to cast, like, have that part of your soul and your essence being cast into the galactic sun and just being purified with that process, so to say.
Yeah. So for people who are watching this, I think there's some people who will be really interested to know how they go about awakening. So do you have any advice for those people?
Turn off your TV, unplug from your news radio. Don't feed into any of the fear-based propaganda. Get outside, drink water, read books that are geared towards positive mindfulness thinking and awareness. Talk to like-minded people. There used to be a really good YouTube channel before the YouTube purge happened and they got cut out. But edgeofwonder.tv, it does cost like $9.99 a month, but you have complete access to all of their videos. They have guest speakers such as David Wilcock, Corey Good, Laura Eisenhower, and a bunch of people who like are whistleblowers for the secret space program and that have been telling us everything that has been going on. They have episodes where it's not an overwhelming amount that they share with their content, but it's enough to get the wheels in your mind running and turning and going. But yes, I already said drink water, but it's very important. Eat high vibrational foods in balance with what you eat on the day-to-day basis. You're not gonna have lightning struck down from you if you eat meat like on a daily basis, or if that's like part of your diet. That's, if anyone, like if it works for some people to go like vegan, vegetarian, that whole, like if that's part of your like your personal soul's mission, like have at it, by all means, go for it. But what keeps people stuck and what keeps people down is them saying, oh, I'm doing this, so therefore you need to do this because I'm doing this and I'm becoming more awakened and yada yada yada, when someone's body or someone else's body and genetic makeup doesn't sit well with them. So just listen to your body. I would also meditate on a weekly, if not daily basis. And if you're one of those people where you can't sit in complete silence, I can't either. Do things to connect with your inner child, like coloring could actually be a form of meditation because it keeps you in like a calm, relaxed state. Going to the park and swinging like I do is what helps you connect with your inner child and being in a calm, relaxed state.
That's lovely. I completely agree with all of them things, especially in terms of listening to your body, because I think some people think that they have to be a certain way or do certain specific things that they've seen maybe big famous people do, or this or that, and listen to what these big influential people have to say, when at the end of the day, just listen to your body and figure it out for yourself. I think in terms of astral projection, do you have any sort of tips on how people can maybe start trying that out for themselves?
It all goes back to having a strong kind of root and grounding force that keeps you aware to come back here. So I would definitely go through for sure root chakra based work, clearing out any kind of ancestral thought patterning that's kind of holding you back, because what it does is it sends this fear signal to your mind, and then everything just stops dead in its tracks because your mind is going, oh, there's fear here, like we shouldn't go there. Another thing I also wanted to add real quick is everything all comes back to love. And how you'll know that you're doing the right thing as if you get this loving, warm sensation feeling from it. If you're feeling like anxious or like just discomfort, it's, you know, maybe not for you at that particular time, and it's something that you can come back to when you are in a more balanced and leveled mindset state that can enhance and affect you on your path then. I would also keep a dream journal. Write down your experiences, like your dreams that you had. You can ask your guides ask your angels to deliver you any kind of messages or regarding any kind of experiences that you want to see. And like 9 times out of 10, you'll start having dreams based on that. And once you strengthen that a mental body capacity to keep having the same essential thought repatternings in it, that's whenever you'll start to interact with them and start actively speaking and saying, I'm gonna go here before you go to sleep. I'm gonna go there before you go to sleep also.
Yeah, I mean, I used to practice a lot. I mean, I need to get back into it again, but I remember there was a point where I was so close to astral projecting, hearing roaring sounds and my body was vibrating. It was really interesting and I don't want to say surprising, but quite, eye-opening. And from then on, if I would always have really vivid dreams, and I would also envisage my spirit guides sort of yanking at my body, trying to pull me out to help me along. Which I think another important thing is, if you're going to try to do it, don't be afraid to ask for help from your guides as well, because they can really help you out.
Yes. And adding alongside that, you can put up an energetic shield of light around you too. That's what I do before I go to sleep, and that it keeps anything from malevolent or anything that doesn't go in accordance to your highest good. It keeps you safe in that kind of energy bubble, and it keeps everything that has, kind of ill intent out from penetrating into that bubble.
Definitely. I mean, I do the same. Just picture like this huge bubble of light around me. If you were to share a message to people watching this, anything at all, what would it be?
Let's see. Just to remember to let go of expectations. Everything always goes back to love. And the extreme importance of drinking water, keeping all of your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual bodies as healthy and as aligned, as active as possible. And having those basic kind of foundations will make all the difference in creating your quantum-based reality according to your life's purpose and what you are meant to do here, to not only save the children, not only save your inner child, but also to save all of the other children and inner children that are out there in existence. Because what you do here has a complete effect on how it affects your multidimensional selves.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that message. I think that was really wonderful because it hits on so many things there. Just take care of yourself, especially looking inwards rather than focusing on all these, external material things we don't need, but making sure to love one another and care for one another, because really that's what matters. We're not here to, be millionaires and, work at a job. That's not what this life is about. It's, spreading love and light, which I think, you sum that all up perfectly.
I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear.
So do you have any final things you want to say?
Just remember that everything all goes back to love, to be the strive to be the most progressed version of yourself that you can on a daily basis. Progress is not linear. Don't think of it as like a straight line that goes up. Some days you are in the highest frequency. Some days you are in a lower frequency because you're transmuting something that has yet to come to the surface for you. And be kinder to yourself. You're doing a lot better than you perceive that you are. It's anytime that you start to feel yourself sinking, and anytime you start to have doubt, tell and talk to your guides about it, and they will quickly show you that it's only one way of thinking, and that if you shift and change your perspective, you'll start to remember how much of a powerful influence and light that you are.
Yeah, I mean,
and it always goes back to love and remembering the inner light that you have for yourself, because your light specifically was needed to make this shift happen. So if you think you were doing something insignificant by working at a grocery store, or that you're just a school teacher and that you're not doing anything that's fulfilling, I can assure you that it's, that couldn't be farthest from the truth. Sometimes it's the little moments and interactions that you have where you can be an embodiment of love for someone just by being nice and kind to them, by, opening the door for someone, or buying a meal, actively going out of your way to show someone, hey, there is someone who cares. You are being an embodiment of love, and that is the highest form of vibration that you can ever be.
Definitely. I mean, spreading love and light is as simple, like you said, as smiling and just being there for people. And, I always think if you feel like you can't share your light with people, just nurture that until you can, and other people will happily share their light with you. So I always think of it like, if you're having a little lantern and you're carrying a lantern along, sometimes it'll start dimming and go out, but other people you come across along the way will share their lantern with you and help reignite your light.
Very much so.
Yeah. So thank you so much for speaking with me today, Shelby. It's been wonderful to speak with you. If people want to see what messages you're sharing and channeling, how can they find you or get in touch with you?
So my Twitter, like you said at the beginning of this video, and of course, thank you so much for having me. This is my first time actually getting to do something like this, and it's amazing to me. My Instagram got deleted actually because, again, exposing truths. And then I have my Facebook deactivated. I felt guided to do that. until after everything, like after the storm blows over, so to say. So I may reactivate it, I may not, but until now, my Twitter is just the best way to get a hold of me.
Yeah, and to people watching, I really recommend you check out her Twitter, because not only is she sharing some really intriguing and interesting things, and as you said today, stirring the pot, but also spreading love and light, and just being a really wonderful human being and soul to be with, and be able to be in contact with. So thank you so much for speaking with me, and just being you, because you are really lovely, and it's been amazing to hear your experiences.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I feel the exact same about you.
Thank you. Thank you to Shelby for coming on to the podcast today. It was really amazing to speak with her. What I found so interesting is about her experiences with multidimensional beings and spirit, and her awakening process. I think it was amazing to hear a lot of what she experienced and has channeled, and messages she has received, especially in terms of aliens. I've sort of had as well, there was a bit of an overlap there in terms of the healing technology, in terms of the spiritual warfare going on, and that this month, December, is such a big and important month. Make sure you follow Shelby on Twitter. The links will be down below in the description box, and you'll have seen her tag throughout this video. Show her some love and some support, and really keep an eye on her timeline, because she shares such amazing, wonderful, uplifting tweets, but she also shares the information that she receives through channeling and spirit and multidimensional beings and her higher self especially. I'd like to say that if you'd like to support the channel, please subscribe to Dare to Fly today and get ready to take flight. Turn on notifications so you get notified every time I upload a video. Like and share this video with others. If you'd like to support the channel even further, you can make a one-off donation to my Ko-fi page, which will go towards helping me buy some rocket fuel for my ship. Or you can also donate to my PayPal, and links to both of those will be down in the description box below. Remember to leave me a comment about your thoughts on this podcast. Or maybe you want to come onto the podcast for a chat yourself. Anyone is welcome, and if you'd love to come onto the podcast and talk to me about anything and everything, please do get in touch. You can leave a comment down below, you can message me on Twitter, my handle is @deadfly777, or you can send me an email, and all of this will be in the description box down below. I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed day wherever you are in the world. Stay true, stay awake, and stay blessed. And as always, fly high, fear less.